This next one's for Professor Hoffman. Asians make up the largest movie-going audience. How can we get more Asian leads in big Hollywood films? And does HAPA, H-A-P-A, leads this matter?
Well, hire more Asians and Asian American actors is kind of the short answer. But also, in writing scripts, leave the ethnicity open, right? So that when you're auditioning actors for those roles, it can really be anybody, right? That's sometimes referred to as blind casting, which, you know, oftentimes people say they're doing blind casting, but they're really not. But to actually do it would certainly help. This goes back to something that Professor Martinez was saying earlier too. In that same report out of USC, you learn that Asians and Latinos are actually the most underrepresented and invisible in the top Hollywood films. So Asians were only 5.7% of the casts in those 900 films, and Latinos only 3%, which is pretty shocking. In 2017, there were no Asian American leads in major films, yet white actors were cast in roles that were imagined for Asians, like Scarlett Johansson in Ghost in the Shell, Matt Damon in The Great Wall, and Tilda Swinton in Doctor Strange. So this is an issue too. But trying to be hopeful, we can look to Kelly Marie Tran as Rose in Star Wars: The Last Jedi. That's kind of an interesting example of blind casting where, she auditioned for the role. They didn't necessarily imagine that character as, an Asian person, but she just nailed the part, right? And I was even thinking in response to this question about Chloe Kim and how, for the first time, it's amazing to see how she's been branded as this American hero, right? So that seems promising to me, even though that's in sports. I feel like, well, why can't we have a character like this in a major Hollywood film or, big budget television show? Kind of going back to something Professor Parrish was saying too about, not just focusing on mainstream Hollywood. I find it really encouraging to look at YouTube. And this is where so many of my students are getting most of their, media content these days. And even, my nephews who are 10 and 12, they don't watch TV or watch a lot of Hollywood films. They go on YouTube. And there's a ton of Asian American YouTubers out there making really incredible content. So I think the way that media is delivered is changing so much, and that's really going to determine, hopefully, in positive ways, the kinds of representations we see and will lead to greater inclusivity. The second question, which is about HAPA identity, which means mixed race, that's so important. Just some more statistics. 10% of American children now are mixed race, and by 2060, that is likely to be 30% of children in the U.S. will be mixed race. So we definitely need more HAPA representation and just mixed race representation.
Yeah, that's definitely
altogether
like a hard thing because they feel like they're stuck between two different cultures, and it's hard to identify with both as being a mixed person.
And again, you guys can change that.